What is going on, boys? So yesterday was the PlayStation State of Play. If you're watching this, I assume you've seen a lot of the discourse going on, a lot of drama. And I am working on a separate video discussing the new God of War title and the State of Play as a whole, or what I'm calling it, the State of Gay. Nah, for real, don't cry about that, man. This channel is not for crybabies. But yes, that will be its own video. This video is going to be solely around the Wolverine game and the footage shown in yesterday's presentation. Now, this is a highly anticipated game. I, for one, cannot wait to play this game. I spent many hours as a kid playing the Wolverine Origins game, or X-Men Origins Wolverine, whatever you want to call it. You know, there are just certain characters that translate very well into gaming, and Wolverine is one of them. And we have seen footage already. The official trailer had gameplay, and many of us saw the leaks, I think, years ago at this point, like around the time Spider-Man 2 came out. Overall, I'll say that it did not give me that same feeling that the first Spider-Man on PS4 from Insomniac, the reveal they had, it didn't give me that same feeling. But in context, at the time, there weren't many Marvel games, at least nothing crazy, I don't believe. And it had been a while since we got a proper Spider-Man game that wasn't just a movie adaptation. This Wolverine gameplay was good, and no doubt I'm pre-ordering and playing the whole game first day it comes out. You know, one thing I noticed is that it seems like it'll feel a lot more like Spider-Man than I originally thought. Something about the combat and the camera angles just felt a lot like Insomniac Spider-Man, when I low-key thought it would feel a lot more like God of War. It's hard to determine just watching a video though. Not that it's even a bad thing necessarily, but I had some sort of preconceived idea of how this would look and feel. I love how much gore and blood and violence there is in the footage. You know, I don't know if it's a rated M game. I just can't imagine it being anything other than that, you know, after what I saw. But maybe it is rated T and they're just being very careful crossing that line. Like, I can't imagine Wolverine cuts someone's fucking guts out of them. Maybe it's just a bunch of blood and crazy kills, like ramming your claws through a guy's face, like we saw. You know, the combat looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you've played Wolverine Origins, you know it's just fun to play as Wolverine. Like I said, he is a character that adapts very well into gaming. Now, I see a lot of people trashing the graphics. I think that the graphics are pretty good, and they're just what I expect at this point. And by graphics, I mean the environments, Wolverine himself, the movements, etc. I think we've kind of hit the cap of how far the PS5 can take it, really. I saw some people saying the suit looks like plastic, which, you know, I mean, I kind of see, but at the same time, when you have the game on your system with your monitor, assuming you have a good enough monitor, it'll look better than just watching this gameplay on your phone or something. The game is months out, so I like to keep my opinions on graphics until I actually get my hands on the game. Even with the Spider-Man 1 reveal, the graphics got changed between that and the game's release. If I remember correctly, it might have actually been worse when the game dropped, so hopefully nothing like that happens this time. Now, the combat itself is very reminiscent of Spider-Man's, and I'm not saying the actual moves that Wolverine uses. Obviously, he is a lot more brutish and aggressive. I just mean how the enemies attack you, the dodge and counter mechanics, that kind of stuff. Now, one thing that PlayStation games especially get shit for a lot is the quick time events or movie-like cutscenes in between set pieces or levels. A lot of people say it's like you're playing a movie rather than a video game, but I've always been a defender of this. I actually prefer a more cinematic single-player experience, especially within the main story. I think it's actually very impressive when side missions get that sort of treatment, so no hate from me here. They showed a part where Wolverine gets absolutely fucked up in a fight, and we get to see his healing factor kick in and he recovers, but a lot of people had an issue with the fact that his suit regenerates as well. I had a lot of people getting on my ass for saying it's a video game, and yes, like, obviously, it doesn't make complete sense, but if the suit didn't regenerate, you'd be walking around butt-ass naked by the end of the game. And my argument was that the same studio that's making this game made Spider-Man, as we know, and in those games, they give you the option of wearing the battle-damaged Spider-Man suit. So it's like, what are we even crying about right now? Like, obviously, we'll be able to play as a battle-damaged Wolverine. Now, on to Jean Grey. So I guess in this story, mutants aren't a known thing. The public doesn't know about them. There are no X-Men, and Wolverine is a part of a team that go around saving mutants. We can assume Jean Grey is a part of this team because she does show up to help Wolverine in the footage we see. And I'll say this, as much as I would rather want to play as Wolverine the entire time, I assume we will play as Jean Grey the same way we played as Mary Jane in Spider-Man. And good God knows I hate those MJ missions, but I think if we absolutely have to go through something like this, I will enjoy playing as Jean Grey a lot more than I like playing MJ. Now, I don't know what the fuck is up with Insomniac. They are just the absolute worst when it comes to face models in their Marvel games. Honestly, it's gotta be on purpose. We know it kind of is because of how badly they fucked up MJ in the Spider-Man games and Peter himself. And these people want to say you want attractive women in games names so you can goon off to them. And it's like, do you see how stupid these people sound? You know, Chinese developers just know what's up, man. These American developers are just so far up their own asses and are going to eat shit one day when we get more American IPs made by Chinese developers who just know how to appeal to the audience that actually spends money. But regardless, yes, Insomniac has this weird relationship with their face models, but specifically for the women. I mean, the actual actress Jean Grey is modeled after in the game is a decently attractive woman, but she just looks like a straight up man in the game. And that's just facts, bro. She looks like Black Widow in the Avengers game. Almost identical. You see a game like Marvel Rivals, again, made by Chinese devs, where I don't appreciate the fucking gooner bait skins they drop, but at base level, all the characters, men and women, they all look good. They all look badass. Now, I'm not expecting every single woman in gaming to look like a model. That isn't my point. I'm talking specifically for Jean Grey herself, who we can assume will become, is, or has been Wolverine's love interest. And we just, I don't know, when I imagine Jean Grey, I imagine her being super hot, super attractive, whatever. Now, I did compare it to Marvel Rivals, but I will concede that that game does benefit from the art style being more anime and comic book-like, rather than a game like this where it's going for a more realistic approach, just like the Avengers game that I mentioned before. Online, you'll get called an incel for saying something like this. I mean, I literally do not care, and we will get into that more when we discuss the new God of War game in the next video. But yeah, I think Jean just looks weird so far. Now, one thing we have yet to see is, will this game include a bunch of woke garbage? Will Wolverine have to apologize for being a man or being white? Nah, man, I'm just being extra, but seriously, Insomniac does have this problem. Now, it's not necessarily a game-breaking problem, but let's be real, like, they threw in that blind, colored, disabled girl side mission in Spider-Man, another side mission where you help a gay kid ask another gay kid to homecoming, and listen, yes, you can avoid these, they are side missions, but it's like, okay, you want to bring these sort of elements into the game, just make them cool, at least. Like, make it an actual badass mission and not walking around as a deaf girl. Now, this game will be about mutants, obviously, and historically, the mutants have been an allegory for the disenfranchised, so there will definitely be nods to that sort of stuff, but again, just make it good and not something that feels forced. And to anyone who's going to be butthurt by people not wanting this shit in the game, imagine the response it would get for the opposite. If it was a bunch of anti-gay or anti-woke propaganda. I mean, the point is, we don't want any of this shit in there, man. I'm not even white, by the way. But that doesn't mean I want to see white characters get outshined or put to the side in their own franchises. Like Spider-Man, you know, say whatever you want. That's just what I think. But whatever, man. Those are my thoughts on Wolverine. I do have high expectations, and I think this game will be good. If anything, they have to make this one a banger to rope us in and get us excited for the second game, where maybe they'll start shitting on us and all that stuff like they did with Spider-Man. Let me know what you thought about the Wolverine footage in the comments below. If you enjoyed my commentary on this, please like the video and subscribe for my next video about the state of play as a whole. But mostly that video will be about the new God of War title and my thoughts on that, man. Peace.